Now, to get a more rounded and in-depth perspective on India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to the USA, I'm joined by former Indian ambassador to the USA, Ma'am Meera Shankar. Good afternoon, ma'am. Thank you so much for joining us at DD India News Hour. Now, after a successful visit to France, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in the USA for much-awaited bilateral meeting between the oldest and the largest democracies. How important is this visit from India's point of view, considering that trade and cooperation in defence sector is also there on the agenda, ma'am?
Look, I think it's a very important meeting because it will set the tone for the entire relationship during the second Trump administration. And obviously, it's important for the two countries to see how they can take their strategic partnership forward in a holistic manner. From India's side, I think we would be interested in trade, energy, defense, cooperation, technology, and supply chain resilience. I think these are issues which are of interest to India because, there are still technological regulatory hurdles in the US for sale of high technology chips and also artificial intelligence products to India. So I think this is something we will put on the agenda. And we would like to hear from President Trump how they intend to pursue the policy of de-risking from over-dependence on any one country, and therefore what opportunities for collaboration this opens up for India and the United States. In the defense sector, of course, India has been purchasing weapons from the United States, but also looking at technology collaborations under Make in India. So that is something, again, that we will pursue. And in the energy sector, given that President Trump has completely reversed the policy of the previous government on renewable energy, the focus will be on whether we can purchase more fossil fuel energy from the United States and also how we can collaborate on small and modular nuclear energy reactors. So this is really the priority as far as India is concerned. And of course, then global security, because there are two world conflicts going on in Europe and in Gaza. And while President Trump has said he will seek to end both conflicts, I think it would be important from our point of view to hear how the US intends to proceed in these two conflicts, because India has always said that with regard to Ukraine, that solutions cannot be found on the battlefield and will have to be sought at the negotiating table. So this is very much in line with the policy that India has been advocating on Ukraine. And then, of course, we would discuss the Indo-Pacific, and I think how the US sees China and its relationship with that country going forward, because this is of interest to all the countries in the Indo-Pacific, including to India. From the US side, there are issues stemming from President Trump's national agenda and policies, which can rub up against other countries, including, his whole stance on illegal immigration, on perhaps legal movement of people, and on trade, particularly tariffs. So we have a full agenda. On immigration, India has already said that as far as illegal immigrants are concerned, we will cooperate in taking back our nationals.
Right.
But there has been concern expressed in India at the manner in which the first lot of immigrants was repatriated in a military aircraft, in handcuffs and in chains. So I think that is something which we would probably emphasize, that, more discreet, more dignified way of repatriation would make it easier for the country to cooperate. As far as the H-1B visas are concerned and legal movement of people, there is a split among Trump's constituencies. For instance, the MAGA would like to end the program because, and there is an element of racism here, because they say that it leads to the browning of America. But the tech companies, particularly the big tech companies, would certainly want the H-1B visa program to continue because they have a skills shortage and they depend on many short-term experts from countries around the globe. Not just the Indian companies, but the key US companies. So as of now, President Trump has said he's in favor of continuing the H-1B program, but we have to wait and see whether they toughen the conditionalities and processing of H-1B visas in the future.
Right.
On tariffs, Trump has already imposed tariffs on his large trading partners, Canada, Mexico, 25%, but withheld for a month, and China, 10%, on top of the 10 to 25% imposed on $200 billion worth of imports from China in his first term.
Right.
He's also now imposed tariffs, 25%,
Right.
on steel and aluminium imports from across the world. This does impact India. We are not exporting so much steel, but aluminium, I think, is a good $400 million or something. So it will impact us. Then there are threats that he may impose reciprocal tariffs on countries. That is, if we have high tariffs in some areas, he will impose high tariffs on us. So I think we have to wait and see where this
Indeed.
goes. But India will try to handle it pragmatically. At the same time, we should be ready with with our own areas where we want more US opening, but also where we will dig in our heels and not give in while showing flexibility in other areas. I think
Indeed.
that's important in terms of the negotiations, to have this balance between the ability to hold firm and the ability to show flexibility.
So we have to wait and
Last
watch and
time-
see that what are the outcomes that we are expecting, because Prime Minister Narendra Modi and President Donald Trump are also expected to hold the press conference tonight as per India time. Now, Pam, considering the fact that India is also likely to host the Quad, how do you see the strategic placement of the meeting in the diplomatic time frame?
Look, I don't really know what time frame President Trump will give for the Quad summit, but it should be held in the first quarter of the year, because the last one was held, it was India's turn to host it, but we agreed to gracefully give the slot to America because it was Biden's last year. And so the summit will be held in India this year, but it will have to depend on the calendars also of the other leaders, US, of course, President Trump, and then the Japanese Prime Minister, the Australian Prime Minister. So all you finally work out a calendar which coheres with the dates of all the leaders. I think that is still to be done.
All right.
Also, I don't know if there will be any deliverables announced in this summit, because it's at short notice.
Right.
And perhaps there hasn't been enough time for the Trump team, which has just got into place to really do, detailed preparations for the visit. But there probably will be some kind of joint statement at the end of it, which will lay out the path for the future.
Indeed. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us and bringing us a rounded, in-depth analysis of the current developments which are going on between India and the United States of America. Thank you.